Welcome back into the high school fan zone. We're going to wait just a second. Parker Hicks is probably nearby. We're going to run through what's going on the high school scene still this weekend, because we still have three teams alive and well in the softball and baseball playoffs. To call it up here, get the schedule going. In the softball playoffs, Class 5A Division II, Lubbock Cooper is in the regional championship round for the first time in school history. The Lady Pirates head to Graham, Texas. They take on Grapevine in the 5A Division II regional championship round. Best of three series, game 1, 6 p.m. Thursday at Lady Blues Field. Noon Friday with a third game to follow if necessary. That is on one of Raymar's stations, I believe 93.1 FM. It's a cool complex. That's where Friendship and Lubbock Cooper have played baseball the last couple of years. The baseball and softball are right next to each other. Let's see, Lubbock Cooper baseball, speaking of the Pirates, are also still alive in the Class 5A Division II baseball regional round. They are facing old friend Argyle, team that knocked them out in the regional championship round a few years ago. They play a best of three series at Crutcher Scott Field at ACU. 7 p.m. Thursday, 1 p.m. Friday, and then 4 p.m. Friday if game 3 is needed. Winner of that advances to play the winner of Grapevine and Abilene Wiley. Grapevine, of course, the reigning 5A state champion, coached by Monterey graduate and former Lubbock High and Coronado coach Jimmy Webster, that knocked off Lubbock Cooper last year in the fourth round after losing to Lubbock Cooper in the third round the year before. If that's not convoluted and confusing, I'm not doing my job well. Anyway, Lubbock Cooper could play Grapevine again. That's they have to take care of business against Argyle. This is not the same Argyle team, same caliber Argyle team they faced a few years ago, but still a very formidable opponent for the Pirates, and if they take care of business, they've got a chance to take on Grapevine, although Abilene Wiley has a little bit to say about that. The Bulldogs have been a good program for years, and in fact, that's the last team that beat Lubbock Cooper in the first round, and that was in 2019, year before the COVID season. Class 4A Division I, Estacado, kind of the lovable underdog right now. They're still alive. They're playing Seminole in the 4A Division I regional round. That will be played out at Friendship at Tiger Field, 7 p.m. Friday, noon Saturday, and 30 minutes later if necessary. Matadors finished tied for second in District 5 4A. Had to come on strong to do that, and they've just picked up and run with that. They won the first round series 2 out of 3 against Brownwood, won 2 games on that Saturday in their final at bat, including a walk-off in Game 3, and then came out and beat District, I'm trying to remember what district Decatur was from. I think they may be 6-4A. The District 6-4A champion beat them in 2 games, and again, 2 very tight games. 3 of Estacado's 4 playoff wins have come by a run, but that's the same is true of Seminole, which traditionally the Indians have a ton of tradition in baseball. They've been doing things right down there for quite a while. They're 25-7 this year. They are legit. Really good team. They are the District 3-4A champion, and they also have 3 playoff wins by a single run. Had to beat Canyon 2-1 and 4-3 to advance from the by-district round. Beat El Paso Isleta 7-6 and 9-1. That is the rekindling of a playoff series from, I believe, 3 years ago. Estacado went down to Seminole, won the first game, and then had to come back and win Game 3 at home against the Indians. Great series. I remember that very vividly. A lot of it was the last really, really good Estacado team. This team's really good. The record doesn't reflect that. They're 16-1, but they've, like I said, they came on strong. Started district with a 3-0 record, hit a rough patch, lost a bunch of close games, and then figured it out. And they're playing really well. So those are the 3 teams still alive in the baseball and softball playoffs. As I mentioned, Lubbock Cooper softball's got a chance to do something. They've already achieved history. I did a video with a couple of their girls the other day. They've already achieved history by getting to this far, but this is a team that I think could take care of business this week, get to the state semifinals, and then when you get to that round, and I believe Lubbock Cooper's 29-4, they've 29-3 maybe. They've won a bunch of games, and that's not by accident. So they've got a chance to keep building on the history they've built. That's a series I'm actually headed down to Graham to watch that one and see what they do. Lubbock Cooper baseball, this is Jimmy Webster and I actually exchanged texts. He asked what they were like. The Pirates don't necessarily knock the ball all over the field, but they pitch great. They play great defense, and that Sage coach from Grapevine, who's won a state championship now, texted me back and said that's how you win in May, and he is exactly right. That's a pretty good formula. It'd be nice to score 15 runs a game, but that doesn't happen in 5A and 6A baseball, not at this stage of the season. And then Estacado. I think Estacado's got a chance to maybe shock. This would be a little bit more of a shock this week than last week, I think, to knock off Seminole. But I'm not going to put it past the Matadors. They've figured it out. They know what they're doing. So we're coming up on a break. Hopefully I can find Parker Hicks. If not, I'll just keep talking. You'll have to listen to me, I guess. This is the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. This is Randy Rosetta. We'll be back after the break.
Bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone. We have one more segment for this week. As I mentioned, next week will be the last week for the High School Fan Zone for this school year. We will be back in late August, early September, as soon as volleyball gets revved up and football starts to take over as it does in the fall. I had to rack my brain. The schedule will change a little bit because we will add Memorial, the new Friendship High School, to the mix next year. So there will be 8 schools filling up the airwaves Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I'm not sure what will happen after when we get into post-Thanksgiving. When we go to 2 nights a week, we may have to go 4 schools a night, just like we do on Monday nights, which next Monday night will be the final LISD night of the school year. We'll have Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock High, and Monterey. I've already got that set up. Let me make sure you can check my list here. I believe we are going to talk. I say that now. I can't remember for sure. I know that Brian Kronk is going to come in and wrap up the Monterey softball season. That's who it is. We're gonna wrap up the school year with a couple of volleyball coaches because they don't often get to come in the fall because they're busy especially on Tuesday nights. So Coronado volleyball coach Candy Stevens will be in next Monday. Matt Leesman from Lubbock High will be in next Monday. And then Devin Griffin, the Estacado girls basketball coach, had a great season, first of all, and then had a couple of really good young players who I think are building blocks for what the Lady Mats are going to try to do moving forward. They lose some great players, but Devin has really built a very solid program there the last several years, and their district's going to change. Liberty and Estacado and all the schools there in the district with will welcome Memorial into the district next year, the new Friendship High School. They will play Memorial will do much like Liberty did a few years ago. They'll play a varsity schedule in every sport except football. And the only reason they don't play a football varsity schedule is because their students will be freshmen and sophomores. And if you've ever seen freshman and sophomore football players, they're not quite ready for varsity level football. It's a little bit of a size difference. I've told Joe Sexton this all the time. The difference walking into Liberty that first August and seeing their students, and then by the end of the year how much different physically they had gotten. And now by next year, Liberty will be full. They will be freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. So Memorial will go through that process with, again, everything. They'll play varsity sports in everything but football. Brian Gerlich did tell me last week, this surprised me a little bit, they are playing some varsity teams in football, but they will have it will be a JV schedule playing some small school varsity teams. So I'm not sure how that works. If they count for the varsity teams, don't count for Friendship, I'm not sure. Jason Richards is a guy I'm going to try to sit down with and do some stuff with on my website this summer as we get closer to the school year. Jason Richards will be the first-year football coach. Memorial came down from Muleshoe, had a great run at Muleshoe. A Clovis native, played for the great Eric Roanhouse out there in eastern New Mexico. They've named a lot of their coaches, most of their coaches, in fact. I know CJ Villegas will be the boys basketball coach. Jason Cooper will be the girls basketball coach. The volleyball coach's name is escaping me. Brandon Roberson will be the baseball coach. I'm going to look it up here because I know it's on my website somewhere. We're going to find it. They've done much like Liberty have. They've got a good mix of veteran coaches and young coaches, which really worked out well for Liberty, because you've got very young kids, again, as I mentioned, freshmen and sophomores, and you're going to have them getting coached by people who have been around the block for a little while, and then some who are just getting their start in the sports, in high school coaching, especially at the 5A, which will eventually be 5A level. Roxanne Curiel will be the softball coach, assistant coach to Ryan Miller this year. I believe she'd been out there with Robbie Dickinson for a few years as well. So a lot of experience. I'm looking forward to seeing the new school open. I was excited when Liberty opened. It's a breath of fresh air. Like I mentioned, it gave Estacado a rival. Once Liberty rose from 3A to 4A, gave Estacado an in-town rival. Now Estacado is going to have two in-town rivals eventually, and all these coaches have heard me say this. My selfish point of view is eventually, 4 years, 6 years maybe, we will have a district in Lubbock that has mostly 5A teams, couple of 4A teams, and all 5A teams. Much easier travel, much better rivalries. Spares teams having to go to the Metroplex for the second and third week of the playoffs. So that's going to wrap us up on the High School Fan Zone on this Wednesday. Now, we'll have to catch up with Parker Hicks and Liberty basketball soon, maybe early in the fall when we come back. We will be back Monday, last Monday of this school year in the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.